Well, away from that accident, domestic travelers at the Kutuka International Airport and other airports across the country have been left stranded after staff of the Ghana Airport Company Limited started an indefinite strike this morning. Now, they are demanding the removal of their managing director, Yao Kwakwa, who they accuse of mismanaging the facility. Well, this morning, he's been locked out of his office, and the union says his role in the inflation of contracts, among others, is what has pushed them to demand his arrival. Kweku Asante, my colleague, is currently at the airport and he joins us. Kweku, the latest to this is that the National Security and Employment Ministers designate are in a meeting trying to convince the workers to call off their strike. What's the latest on that? Well, too bad we don't have Kweku Asante on now. We are trying to rectify the line. And, well, as we wait for that, listen to Chairman of the Workers' Union on why they want their MD sacked.
We did write a letter demanding the dismissal of the MD, but our 14-day ultimatum ends on Thursday, coming Thursday. So let me correct you right from there. Yes, and we have a lot of issues, and a lot of them bordered on his lack of interest in the welfare of staff. So based on that, we are not ready to work with him any longer. Now, let me just reference you. This is not coming from only us, the union executives. Before this decision was taken, the executives used almost 2 months to engage staff from headquarters here, section by section, team by team, and from here we went to the regions, i.e. Tamale, Kumasi, Sunyani, and Wa. From there we came back, engaged general staff in the headquarters Accra here, and at that meeting, it was, we can call it vote of no confidence that the MD must go. It is in that spirit we write to the powers that be to remove him immediately. In general, he's not taking care of our welfare, and we think that any good managing director, the staff should be his #1 assets. Now, if he's not interested in the welfare of staff to the extent that even their health issues are not being taken care of, we think he's not the best person to manage the company.
Has all of this does it have anything to do with the purported privatization of the Ghana Airport Company?
They cannot be treated in isolation. In fact, when we add all these things together, we can conclude that he had a grand scheme of running the company down and have a good reason to hand it over to the private people. That's what we think. Yes.
So, since you sent a letter, have you had any response?
We haven't had any response yet, but we are telling you today we will be engaging the board. It is in that spirit. We don't want to go into details as at now. Now, after that engagement, we believe we can meet you and give you the details. Yes. Thank you.
So, one last thing.
So this was on Thursday before the strike started this morning. My colleague Kweku Asante is at the airport. Kweku, the National Security and Employment Ministers designate, we understand, are in a meeting trying to convince the workers to call off their strike. What's the latest with that?
Right, Bennett. So the ministers designate for national security, for employment and labor relations, as well as transport, has been in a meeting outside the offices of this union trying to convince them to call off their strike. What has come out of that is that they have been able to succeed, although temporarily, to get them to call off the strike. And they have a key word, temporarily. And if you can see in your shots, the queues are now forming up. The members of the union here at the airport have come up to their spots and waiting to process the various travelers here at the local departures hall so that these persons can travel. As about 5 a.m. that I came here, a number of travelers had already massed up here trying to get their checks and also to be able to travel out to wherever they were going to. But that was not possible because of the strike. But now, because of the temporarily strike that has been called off, these members are now back here and the staff are all back in their posts trying to trying to, as it were, check all these travelers and get them to go to their various destinations. So the ministers have succeeded for now in getting some results.
Kweku, so you know, these airlines work with time, and we know that some earlier flight times have been missed. Are we being told how they're going to deal with this? Will they be able to embark on all scheduled flights?
Right. So just before we were going on, I tried to speak to some of the online some of the officials here and trying to get a sense of what exactly they'll be doing to some of these people who have been here since morning, who are unable to travel. What they told me was that they want to get into a meeting with the airport management here and have an arrangement in terms of those people who have missed their flight. Some of them who are flying as early as 7 a.m. who have missed their flight. Some of these people, they would have to find alternate arrangements for them to be able to travel. So as far as we are concerned as of now, no conclusive agreement has been reached in terms of those who have already missed their flights. But those whose flights are within the time schedule as of now are just forming up the queue and trying to get the officials of the Ghana Airport Company Limited to check them and take them through the formal procedures for them to be able to travel.
All right, Kweku, you hold on. I'll come back to you shortly. Earlier, my colleague Kweku Asante spoke to some passengers on the cost of the strike to them.
Where are you traveling to this morning?
Why I'm traveling?
Where are you traveling to?
Where? Kumasi.
Kumasi.
Yeah.
And so for some hours now, we understand that there's a strike action. Do you know what's going on here? And why the staff are not at post?
I don't know.
Anything?
I don't know.
Okay, so how impacting is it? Are you going to do something very serious?
Yeah, for business.
For business.
Yeah.
And so we understand that this will very much impact what you are going to do. What kind of impact will this have on whatever business you are going to do?
Oh yeah, lots of airplane have been cancelled, so not many chance to take an airplane. Yeah.
Right. So how long will you wait before you take some other means to travel?
Oh, I'm planning very earlier. I need to planning earlier. So.
Right. So this gentleman here telling us that he would wait for a while before he would use some other means to travel. Let me talk to some more people here. Where are you traveling to, and how is this impacting you?
Oh, Takrady.
Takrady.
Yes.
And so since you've been here, have you received any official information from staff members?
Basically, they are saying they are on strike. So we're just waiting if it will happen. If not, we are just waiting for the next announcement. If it's going to happen, that's fine. If not, then we would have to go back. So it's unfortunate anyway.
Will you want to use some other means to get to where you are going?
Oh, well, we either drive, we either drive. But I mean, if we had to drive, we would have done that at dawn. You understand? So there's some form of urgency, and some of these things are unfortunate anyway. But I hope they get it resolved as soon as possible.
Thank you. So this is very unfortunate, and they hope that this gets resolved as soon as possible for them to be able to get it. So we'll try and speak to more passengers here at the airport and get an understanding of how this is impacting them. Hello, please, you are live on JoyNews.
So we can't.
Please, where are you traveling to?
Travel to good
And then since you've been here, they said they are on strike.
This morning, 6 p.m. Didn't say play, we don't go.
So that was earlier in the day. Now we know that the employment and national security ministers designate have been able to convince workers of the Ghana Airport Company Limited to call off their strike temporarily. But let's head to Kumasi now. Prince Appiah is at the airport to give us a sense of how the action has affected operations there. Hello, Prince. What can you report?
Hello, Bernice. I can report that here in the Ashanti region, the Kumasi International Airport, a number of the passengers who have been here since 6 in the morning to catch the 6:30 flight have all been very much stranded. I should say that right from that time till this time, a number of them have gone home one after the other Others have decided to go by bus to Accra to fulfill their various engagements that they've planned. Others have also said that they cannot catch their business activities they're supposed to engage in Accra, and so they had to postpone it to next week. I should say that we've not been able to speak to any official of the staff here, but with the passengers who have been here since morning, they tell us they are very much disappointed and are very much frustrated with the turn-off event. They've not had any communication prior to this particular event. What they are telling me is that this morning some of the authorities here have told them that they should either go and get their monies refunded, or they can wait and see if the strike will be called off. Let's speak to some of them briefly who just came around, and though the strike is on. Thank you very much for joining us on Joy News.
Thank you so much.
What has been the situation so far?
Actually, I was scheduled to fly to Accra at 10:10. So I got here around 9 in the morning. But just to realize that there's a strike, that Ghana Airport is on strike. So I had no information prior to buying the tickets.
How is it going to affect you?
Actually, it's going to affect me because I have a returning ticket, and I have to do so much in Accra before I can return to Kumasi this evening. So it's going to affect me. It's going to affect me.
All right. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to go by a bus, or you're going to forget about the trip?
Yes, I spoke to one of their reps, and he said they have been given a go-ahead to start check-in. So we should give them about 10 to 15 minutes. So we are waiting to see what happens.
Okay, that's some assurance for you, right?
Yes, that's positive.
Okay, so for him, he's got some assurance. We don't know whether there's been a development from Accra, but that's what he's saying. Yeah. He has some assurance that things can get better.
Hello, Prince. Yeah, so while we were on air and while you were standing by to join us with the update from Kumasi, we received information that the staff had called off the strike temporarily in Accra, and that's the latest development on this. But Prince, you mentioned earlier that you've not been able to get a word from officials at the Kumasi International Airport. Does that include officials of the airlines?
Yes, that includes them. Currently, they are very much worried about the turn-off event, and so it's been difficult to get a word from them, Bernice.
Right, we'll leave it here. Let's head to Takoradi now. Ina Thalia Kwanzaa is standing by to tell us what the situation is there. Hello, Ina.
Hello, Bernice.
Hi. We've seen the impact of this action on passengers in Kumasi. What's the situation like in Takoradi?
Well, Bernice, it's the same thing. I was at the Takoradi airport at exactly 8 a.m. When I went, I met a lot of passengers stranded, sitting up. But at the Takoradi airport, the media is not allowed to speak to anyone or to even take shots because it's at the Air Force base. But off record, I was told by some of the airline officials that they are not working this morning because of what is happening in Kotoka. So they would wait for a red line from Kotoka before they start working.
But were you able to speak to any of the passengers just to find out how this has affected them?
Well, Bernice, you're not allowed to do anything because it's a military base. You're not allowed to speak to anyone, even if that person is a passenger. I've gone through several officers trying to just get the nod to do this, but no. But from the observation I had, several of them, I could count close to 50 passengers sitting stranded. And then off record, an official of one of the airlines told me that this is really affecting them because they don't know what to tell their passengers. And then they are also not allowed to speak on record, but they are waiting to see if this afternoon a flight will come in from Accra, then they can also move.
All right, Ina. Well, the news is that flights have resumed at Kotoka International Airport, so I'm sure you'll be able to give us some update later in the day on development at the Takoradi Air Force Base. To the northern region, Tamale, that will be our final stop before we get back to Kweku Asante. Martina, what's the situation in Tamale?
Like the others have said already, flights have been grounded here. We are told that they were supposed to have started. One of the airlines said they were supposed to have left 7 o'clock this morning, but they are still here. And they are told that in the next hour, they are in a meeting in Accra. In the next hour, they'll be giving them information as to what to do. But until then, they do not want to say anything. All they are going to say is they are waiting for a response from Accra. But I've also been speaking to some of the passengers who said they are very disappointed. They have been here for over 3-4 hours and nobody is telling them anything. One says he's traveling to Canada and needs to get to Accra today, have other things done in Accra before he leaves in the evening to Canada. But that is not going to be possible because of what has just happened. I spoke to some other person who says that he has an emergency document to deliver in Accra and he has up to close of the day. If that is not done, then it is cancelled for him. And so people are not happy about what has just happened.
I can imagine there will be a backlog of flights, Martina. Have the airlines or their officials communicated how they are going to deal with who gets to board what flight at what time? Are they going to, for example, these cases you have mentioned, determine them on a case-to-case basis, or they'll strictly go according to who was supposed to catch the earliest flight? Have you heard anything from them?
Well, I'm told that once they are given the go-ahead to start, they would move with the schedule that they were supposed to run.
Well, thank you so much, Martina Bugri there, coming to us from the Tamale Airport. Some persons who have really been affected by this there. She shared their story. Unfortunately, we've lost Kwekwa Asante, but he's still stationed at the Kotoka International Airport and will bring us the very latest on this, even as that strike action has been, or that strike has been called off temporarily.